Hey, Steve Zelnardo here with Remax Experts, Zelnardo Associates. Just a real quick update on the market. Current inventory, we're at 8,713 units and 212 actually sold. So compared to last week, we had about 8,439 units and 234 units sold. We've only had an increase of 3 to 4% of new inventory come on from week over week, which is still good. During our team meeting, Mike brought up a valid point why we didn't see a larger influx of inventory hitting the market is because kids are back to school today for the first day. So I would imagine the parents would have kept that all normal till now, and then ultimately let's get live on the market. So we should have more inventory coming up. Just remember, this amount of inventory, we haven't had this low of an amount since March of last year. So this is why we're, when we talk to clients or we're going on appointments, we're telling all our potential clients and current clients to list now. If you want to net the most amount of money, you got to list with the least amount of inventory, and that's currently now. There is not going to be a spring market this year. We know as we've been preaching all of last year into this year, and it's all sort of come to fruition that we are going into a recession, and we're going to get into, as we go, we're going to start losing money every day on our houses. Like if you don't list now, you're losing thousands of dollars per day. So with that said, like we had a few listings that one of them we took probably end of August into September. So that's like 3 to 4 months. We had this current listing. It was listed prior in June, didn't sell. We've taken it, we've adjusted the price, and then ultimately I feel like we're always on top of the buyers and what they're willing to pay. We had like 30 to 40 showings, something around that nature, I would imagine by now, and no offers all of last year. And now the first week of January, we get one offer that came in on Saturday, a little bit low naturally. We're trying to work that one up, and now we're getting another offer hopefully today. So imagine for 4 months we had no offers come in. I mean, same price to house where we had it, same, we just changed maybe the captions, but ultimately now we're getting active buyers that are submitting offers, which is great news for my clients. And also timing, like we have just a small window of opportunity to net the most amount of money, because once we pass this threshold and we're getting like 10, 12, 13, 14,000 units on the market, prices are going to come down dramatically. And again, what you sell for depends on what your neighbor sells for. So if your neighbor is in a situation where they need to sell and they keep adjusting the price because they can't hold it anymore, ultimately that's going to affect your sale. So your sale price will be determined on your neighbor's holding power. So that's, just keep that in mind. That's why we're advising all clients that we're currently courting with at this point, or clients, the long-term clients, that if you're going to go to market, go now. Don't waste any time. You're losing thousands of dollars per day. So that's pretty much that with the message. Just want to show you some articles here. And it's, these are always frustrating for me because it's like you're yelling at the government to do things in advance, and they just, I don't know what they're doing. It's just ridiculous. But I'll go into this article here. Oh, that's the wrong one. That's Airbnb stuff, guys. I got some advice for that too. So Morneau used to be the finance minister of Canada. Obviously, he stepped down. There was huge corruption between him and Trudeau. I think everybody forgot by now, but he was the one of the heads that wanted to tax corporations because they own a retirement fund plan or something like that. So if you can't stuff your money in a corporation, you're going to be forced to deal with his company. So basically a monopoly and fraud, but he was actually stepped down for other reasons. But look what he says here, like these guys are all turning on each other at some point, right? But he says former federal finance minister Bill Morneau says he thinks Prime Minister Trudeau and the Liberal government he used to be part of, so I guess he stepped down, he's went away from it, because it's bad for business when there's corruption, right? And especially these guys own a huge retirement fund. Spent too much on COVID. So he's saying that Trudeau's government spent too much on COVID-19 stimulus. Now he's worried about the potential for a recession this year. Wow. So I'm saying you're yelling at the top of our lungs, and these guys keep going. But let's just read further here. It says, former finance minister is not the first high-profile economic voice to suggest that Canada may have rolled more economic aid than prudent out the door for too long. In September, Bank of Canada Deputy Governor Paul Beaudry said governments and central banks should have withdrawn stimulus measures earlier, as doing so when they have likely resulted in lower inflation. Like, how frustrating is that? So it's always the government puts the general public like us in a position because they don't do their job properly. So not even that, like Yeah, they had to stop printing money earlier, but they had to start raising interest rates of last year to kind of slow things down. But naturally, they let it go wild, and now we're here dealing with our current situation. Let's keep going here. So BC becomes first province to require 3-day cooling off period for home buyers. Actually, my coach was talking to me about this on last Thursday. So basically what this is, and I'll just read the article, British Columbia has become the first province to require a 3-day cooling off period for buyers after they've signed an agreement to purchase a home. So a new home buyer protection period is designed to give purchasers more time to arrange financing or home inspections after a deal has been accepted. Details that the provincial government has said were neglected in past sizzling housing markets. The government said in the statement that the extra days would give buyers more time to consider if they purchased the right for them, the high pressure sales. So basically what this is that it's a 3-day condition rather. So even if you go in firm on a deal, you waive finance, home inspection, you got 3 days to kind of figure it out. So you automatically get a 3-day condition on every property. Even though you waive the right for finance and inspection, you still have a 3-day period, which is now like a conditional period to secure the deal or not, which is good. Naturally, this is way late. Like this should have been this should have been passed in 2017, to be honest. And now it's like, a market's gone and doesn't even make sense anymore. So it's again late to the game. Government, they're putting in a pretty decent rule that especially in like you said, in the high pressured market that we're in, 3 days would have been good to think about it, and you can kind of back away from the deal. But this is not going to be used for 5 to 7 years. So this is just a waste of time and money. Citizens, like our money, our tax money, right? They put a bill in place that's not going to be used.